I'm John Moss, and I approve this message.
When it comes really to when the tough times and tough calls are out there, someone who will stand up, y'all are blessed to have Councilman John Moss in your corner, and I hope and I pray that this November you return him to office. And when you're telling your friends and when you're telling your neighbors what he's all about, talk about his character. Talk about how when everything else is going down and when everyone else out there is folding, he's the kind of guy that stands up. John?
Well, that is a very humbling piece. I don't know that I'm really worthy of all that, but thank you so much for those very kind words and that very rich story. Before I start a few remarks, I would always like to recognize personally my wife, because without my family, this public service would not be possible. And one of my former council mates from years past, and a dear friend, former council member Robert Dean's here. Thank you. But I can tell you, as I've always said, this campaign is not about me. This campaign has really been about us. I mean, every time I'm out knocking on doors and I see all the work that, once I start naming names, I'll get in trouble. I've already got in trouble for doing that on Facebook. But I'll leave somebody out. But really, I am just impressed by the dedication, the enthusiasm, and your personal sacrifice and that of your families that allows you to go out there, knock on those doors, make those calls, put up those signs, and that sweat equity that really makes us the kind of gut campaign that we always talk about, and that really has true grassroots. I always talk about the Republican creed. It's not as eloquent as the Declaration of Independence, which I love, but it gets to the heart of who we are as a people, our culture, that we really are about limited government.
Yes.
We really are about free enterprise.
Yes.
And why did we form this government to start with? Did someone form a government so we could have more services? Did we form a government so that we could do a bunch of stuff? We formed a government to secure our personal liberty. And I realize people want services, but one of the things I hope I try to bring to the role, because always someone says, what is the job of a council member? They asked that last night at the debate. What is the role of a senator? And I'm thinking, their role is, it's your oath of office. That's your job. Your job is to what? To hold and defend the Constitution of the United States. So it's to keep you safe, keep you secure in your property, allow you to individually prosper, which means government shouldn't be growing at your expense, and making sure the playing field is level for your economic success, not guaranteeing success, guaranteeing opportunity to success, and allowing you to be the right to fail. People tend to forget. I never forget Steve Jobs once said the best thing that ever happened with him when he got fired from Microsoft. Remember when he went out? What company did he start?
Started in his garage, too.
But he started Pixar, and he made more wealth off Pixar than he ever made off Apple. I know people find it hard to believe, but it's true. So sometimes when people say, oh, we can't get the budget, we just have to have more money, because we can't guarantee we can keep you safe, we can't educate your kids unless we raise taxes. I'm telling you, I have more faith in ourselves than that. Our parents got through Great Depressions, we got through a war. I'm sure it's not as difficult as George Washington Valley Forge. You just have to have the intestinal fortitude to look in there and say, It's easier for me to find a penny that we're already spending than to ask you to give us another penny. And that's like a fundamental principle, but I know people would probably agree. The council job is a lot easier than you think. Is it difficult decisions? But if you really have your core values right, making those choices is not difficult. What's difficult is the people that can't understand why you're not willing to compromise on those principles. But this is a great city, Virginia Beach. Let's be honest, you can travel around the country and throughout the Commonwealth. And you'd be hard pressed to find a city that has the volunteer base that our community has. We're the largest city with an all-volunteer rescue squad. You look at the volunteers, whether it's master gardeners, or people doing reading, or doing Vanguard Landing, or doing stuff for the handicapped children at the beachfront, the noblemen. I mean, we have as many volunteer groups doing wonderful things for our citizens that you could ever imagine. We'd be hard-pressed to find elsewhere in the United States. You really would be hard-pressed. And that is a tremendous, I think that's why we all stay here. But what's our biggest challenge? Our biggest challenge is creating a physical climate. I know Pete, when he gets back up there, he's going to help us out there. Is we need to rechange our tax structure for the whole state. I think the state's finally recognizing that. We can't build 21st century job base on 18th century taxes like the bee poll tax, you know, the personal property tax, which goes back to paying off the debt from the Civil War. They used to actually come into your house and count your sofas and all these things. It wasn't just your car. They would actually look at the things, inventory the things in your home, and you'd have to pay a tax. Things do change a little bit. But all these things keep us from attracting businesses because we're taxing not the output of production, we're taxing people on the means of producing jobs, the means of producing income. It's not what the 21st century economy is all about. That's a big challenge for all of us. And one example I'll show you is we have lots of what we call taxpayer expenditures. That means government thinks they had the right to that money, but they let you keep it, so it's an expenditure. So right now, the city's concerned, or some are concerned, that seniors, we're putting about $15 million a year in tax relief to seniors. Means taxes we would have collected had they not qualified for an exemption. Well, obviously, people that say, I'll have their eyes on that $15 million, so they think that we could change the benefit, change the scale, make it more fair. That means put money in their pocket. I said, but they're not talking about the tax expenditures for some other notable special interests at the oceanfront, nameless. But then a key, it's gold or something like that. But anyway, but my point is, but all that's about is a distraction. It's getting us distracted about giving government more money than fundamentally asking the question, we need to rebalance between what government does and what we do for ourselves. We need to do the core things, education, public safety. Fine, but there's other things that aren't so important. How many people know we have one planner for every 8 police officers at the city of Virginia Beach?
Oh, really?
One planner for every 8 sworn police officers. I mean, I lived here during the boom days of Virginia Beach. We didn't have that many planners, and we're not in the boom time now. Who knows what the biggest department in the city is? I was 1,400 people. Social services. Now, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but it's a sign of an unhealthy economy. Because we have twice as many people on food stamps, we have 8% more. Because, why? We aren't putting our focus on the right things, is making this a place. I used to always say, be like Hong Kong, you know, it's like the cheapest place to do business in Virginia ought to be Virginia Beach, because businesses is where jobs are created, not government. And so that's what I really want to bring is, like I always have done, I look at it as, when it comes to money, before I can come and ask you for more money, I need to be certain that the last penny that we spent has a higher priority than the last penny you spent. And I know that today that's not true. And sometimes when people's incomes aren't going up, why is we raising taxes? Because that just means we're redistributing wealth to government. Not that government's essential, but it's the wrong trend. So this election really is about, and it's not just Virginia Beach. I think this election is true at the national level. It's in Richmond. All these elections are really about is, I think, a renaissance, a founder's renaissance. getting back to the basics of why we formed government to start with. Losing 50% of your income through fees and taxes when you all get done, and it's all going to some level of government, you are not free. And so that doesn't mean government isn't essential, we don't need to do good things, but we are bigger and a better people than that. We should always be willing to bet on ourselves. And I'm willing, thank you for betting on me. I will do my best never to let you down. I'm in this, I think, I know for the right reasons, because I believe that the founders had it right, and we just need to put that Republican creed and our Republican, small r, small d democratic values back to work in local government and set an example for the state. And I appreciate you coming here tonight. Thank you, Pete, very much. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.